just in time for all the Turkish weddings in the world to appear outside the window. I get it's a happy occasion, but is it that happy?
Is it a Turkish wedding?
Yeah, it's a Turkish wedding. Like, they drive and they... Anyway, do you want to start the podcast while I figure out what the hell's going on with my hair and where I want the camera, because I can't figure out the right place to put it. Do we want it up here? Do we want it down here?
Depends on how you want your luscious looks to feel on this FailcastF1 podcast, everyone.
Well, all you can tell is that I haven't had my hair cut yet. So, and I'm still not going to. I'm growing my hair out now in protest at my hairdresser becoming a prison guard. It's just too ridiculous. I'm going to leave it down here.
Hey, Manna.
Sounded less enthusiastic than after a football match. Must not have won the jackpot with that marriage. No, actually, my windows are quite good, so that's what's muting it, Beetlejuice. It's good to see you, mate.
Wait until they start smashing places. Plates, even.
I just want to check as well. Is the sound all right for you, mate, before we dive into it? And that goes for you as well, Simon.
You sound fab from this side.
That's good. That means the time I spent earlier today wasn't a complete fucking waste. Amazing. So...
Yeah, you're crystal clear.
So, oh yeah, and Beetlejuice says it sounds good. Okay, so I can relax, and we can do a little bit of pre-show. So it's been a little bit of a while.
It has.
And the eagle-eyed among you, on my stream at least, will note the change of scenery, and that's because finally, after like a year and a half of promising that I would, I've made a proper streaming setup. I have to dismantle it in like 7 days because I've got a new desk coming that isn't as ridiculously high as this one. And at the moment, everything's crammed in. But one benefit is that my PlayStation is no longer sort of wedged between a variety of other electronic devices. So, touch wood, so far it doesn't sound like I'm in the room with a helicopter or a hovercraft that's trying to like levitate out of the room. So, that's good news. I just have to share a link for this stream because I forgot.
Disgraceful. I'm pleased to say that my PS4 will still be whirring quite happily in the background as I am low-key vibing my setup at the moment, although it is on my to-do list.
Like, it costs a lot of money, doesn't it?
Hey, Roy.
Like, because I've had to buy a new monitor, and I still need another new monitor, but now I can actually sort of see chat, but it's going to get even better.
That's going to be one of my next things to do, is to set up like I've got one of those cheeky Amazon pad things, what are they called? Fire tablets, that's it. Because it was only 25 quid, and I thought, oh, do you know what, I can afford that, so that I can then pop it up, but I just need to actually do it. So
hey,
bigger to watch.
Wodge is here as well. Welcome, mate. It's good to see
Wodge.
you. Thank you for joining us for our first stream back. We were just talking about the fact that we're both working on new setups, it seems, and spending quite a lot of money doing so.
For the love of the podcasting and streaming.
For the love of the podcast, exactly. So, in true Failcast style, because we've been underachieving this season, and we have, haven't we? Isn't it right that we only scored in one race?
No, you must have scored in more than one because you've got 26 points, unless you won and got fastest lap.
I won and got fastest lap.
Oh.
So we've really done badly, right? And I'm curious to see if either of us gets fired, because I've not seen anybody get fired in this game, and apparently it's possible. And I'm wondering, like, what do you have to do? Do you have to, like, dunk your scrotum into the team principal's coffee? I don't get it. Like...
Hulk smash a door. Yeah,
you have to fuck smash a door. But still, to try and achieve peak performance, we are again trying to find the correct chemical balance by mixing a stimulant in a Red Bull with a relaxant in a Belgian beer to once again handle the manic highs and lows of a high-quality athlete. And eventually I will find the perfect chemical balance. We already know that being a bit drunk, a little drunk, is enough to like get pole position, but after a day of work, you need the energy as well. So if we can find the right levels, I think performance will turn round.
That's true.
The other thing I'm interested to see is if Alpine can afford to keep us both. At the moment, it looks like yes, because we're doing shit. But theoretically, we should be too expensive eventually for them to keep both of us. And I'm wondering who they favour.
I think it might be the one with the 26 points versus the one with the 0.
Possibly, but your reclaim level's the same as mine.
Oh, okay.
So you actually should be cheaper for the same acclaim or the same price for the same acclaim, but without. I don't know. But the good news is about being away. Not that there is a lot of good news about being away. Is that lots has happened, lots and lots of news that we will dive into very shortly. I've already got the game up and running. Just let me catch up with chat before we go on.
Let me just unready myself then. And also, of course, today there was a new update to the game which added Portimao. And of course, the thing that everyone wanted, the Aston Martin safety car. I mean, priorities and prioritisation of game features there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I wonder if there was some money involved in that, possibly. Do you think?
Methinks.
To answer your question, Wodge, I have indeed tried Power Horse Energy Drink. It's magnificent. And actually, there's a supermarket there behind the blind. You can't see it. It's sort of there. That sells Power Horse in big cans. I'm living the high life here. I'm living the continental lifestyle. The dream. Talking
of cans, there's Mark Priestley, the old the F1 engineer team thingamabob that used to work with Lewis Hamilton. He does a Monday night live stream on F1, and what he's done to replicate Sunday's smash up is place a Red Bull can on top of a Monster Energy drink and just like thrown it in a kitty litter skip. I was like, yes.
Well, why not? I mean, any commentary you make on that incident is going to get you into trouble with somebody. That's the thing I've realised. Just like everything else, it's become so hyper-partisan that I've seen some really ridiculous takes on that incident, and we are going to touch on it for sure. But I guess maybe that's something we should build up to. So before we're driving, so I can give it my full focus and eyes to camera like a professional. One of the pieces of news that happened while we were away was obviously that George Russell will replace Valtteri Bottas. Now the thing is, I thought we could talk about that, but then I realised it's the least surprising bit of news in the world. So what I'm going to do instead is give you the headline, Russell replaces Bottas, but instead inject a news story that you might not have known about. So the one I've opted to go for is, do you remember Daphne and Celeste?
Oh, Christ. Now there's a rave from the grave.
Yeah. They have a new album out. It's called Daphne and Celeste Save the Universe.
What?
See, that's way more surprising than the news I was going to share that George Russell has replaced Valtteri Bottas. So now everyone's happy. You've got the actual news, but you've left without feeling sort of bored and despondent, because that was always going to be the case. No one legitimately thought anything else was going to happen. It was really funny as well that Alpha announced Bottas first, and then everyone was like, "Ooh, are they going to announce George?" It's like, of course they're going to announce George. Don't be ridiculous.
Apologies, I dropped out there for a brief moment, but I'm still live and I'm still in the game, so that's all good.
Interesting take though. I see that Beetlejuice has already waded in and pointed out that the Hamilton-Verstappen accident, and I think this is something we can all agree on, it was clearly Ericsson's fault. And what we must all ask ourselves now is, why would Marcus Ericsson do this, and when, if ever, will he stop seeking bloodthirsty revenge? I see Simon's just lost the game. So the stream's off to a great start. I'm going to go back then to... Oh, there you go. you connected just in time for us to hear you swearing.
It's Hang on, it's disconnected me out of the game. I'm having Virgin Media problems, clearly. It had a hissy fit earlier today as well.
Oh, this isn't a good prognosis. Do I have to go play Chicken Cops instead to fill the time?
Right. Oh, it's letting me go back in the session, running session. It's the first time we've been disconnected up, isn't it?
Oh, there you go. Simon has joined.
Oh, it just chucks me back in again. That's good.
Oh, well, at least they've managed to come up with some way to mitigate their own failures. What I see is that we are basically the same on driver reclaim. Oh, you've gone again. On driver reclaim, but we have the exact same salary. Simon cannot perform voice chat due to network connection failure. Well, isn't this going swimmingly? I was really looking forward to this. What the balls is going on? Well, in the meantime, that gives me a chance to talk to you guys. I might have to open the beer earlier than I anticipated. The chemical balance may have to be found earlier. It says you're back. Are you back?
I'm back. I'm back. I know it. It's still telling me that I'm disconnected, though.
Okay.
Odd.
It's left blonde. I don't know if you can see that, Beetlejuice. Do I dare the mix? I don't know, because I mixed that chocolate and fruit drink last time we were on stream, and actually that was surprisingly good. Do you know what? Yes, why not? Challenge accepted. Do I have a drinking vessel around here? No, of course I don't. Simon, can you hold the fort for just a moment?
I will try my best. Virgin Media be damned.
Okay, well, he's gone again. But never mind, because this gives us a chance to run our experiment. And if we can't do the failcast, we'll do some drinking, and then I'll do some driving of some description. But first...
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah, let's have a see here. Are we going to have to back out of this, mate?
We might.
That doesn't sound so good, does it? Right. I think we'll go for the 50-50 mix. And then we'll see if the formula needs adjusting in future episodes. In the name of science.
Okay, I'm going to do a router quick switch on and off again. If you're able to hold the fort for about another 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm currently mixing Red Bull and lager, so by all means.
Christ.
We'll be here.
Good luck to all involved with that, frankly. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Right, I don't want you guys to think less of me here, and we might have to sub you in, Beetlejuice, for an old chatteroo. We can figure something out, I'm sure. But I have to say, credit where it's due. You're a genius, because this actually is really pleasant. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe it's just that I'm unhinged, and that's a reasonable prognosis, but I have to say the 50-50 mix is actually quite pleasant, because the overwhelming artificial sweetness of the Red Bull is tempered by the beer, and the bitterness of the beer is cancelled out by the mind-bending chemicals of the Red Bull. Oh yeah, I could drink that, and I'm going to. So, yeah, other changes. I'm appropriately attired. This is the clearest indication you're British. I definitely am. But the thing is, like, I need to replace my passport because I have the traitor's passport from the European Union. And as you can see, our passports are incredibly cheap. And the front of the passport comes off in your trousers. I'd appreciate no one cutting that sentence up in a way that I wouldn't approve of. But I have to replace it with the blue one, and that's going to cost me €170 that I don't really want to spend. Well, the plan is, anyway, we're in Zandvoort, a track Simon informs me reliably that he's not very good at. That's not the biggest concern, though, because it's been a crap season anyway. We do have some upgrades on the go, though. Let me switch over to the live screen, which should lift us slightly above Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin. And Alfa have been sort of our toughest opponents so far. But there's not really a realistic chance of us catching McLaren or Ferrari. Something we do have to talk about, though, is after this episode, we have one more, and then it's time to change teams. And something I was going to talk about with Simon, but he's no longer here, is the fact that when you get sort of passably good, you become quite expensive. And then no team can afford to hire you. And there's sort of like a workaround in the game where the team you're driving for can always afford you. So in one of my career mode playthroughs, I played at Haas for a laugh, because there's no other reason you'd drive there. Did a season, outdrove the car, and then no one could afford me except Mercedes. So I had a choice between moving to Mercedes or staying at Haas, and there was nothing in between. Like, no team could afford me or was willing to spend the money, even on a low wage thing. So I'm very aware that if I stay at Alpine, I'm going to be stuck at Alpine probably for the full 10 seasons if we start driving at the level of the car. Or if I move to another team, I'm probably stuck there unless we go to Red Bull or Mercedes, which historically we've never done. So as Simon's not here, because my prediction is that he's going to either stay at Alpine or move to McLaren. I know him quite well. We've been driving together 12 years. I'm pretty sure... Oh, there's the police coming about my drink. I don't know who of you reported me, but you were right to do it. He's going to move to either McLaren or Alpine. I'm thinking along the lines of either Aston Martin, going full British, pretending I'm James Bond, or trying to bring Ferrari back to the front. I love McLaren too. I was also toying with the idea of Alfa Romeo, but what I figured is that Alfa Romeo are on about the same performance level as Alpine at the moment, and I'm struggling with the car a little bit. It's not that I struggle for speed, but it's the consistency, and I've played around with a few of the cars, and the ones with a longer wheelbase, so the ones based off the Mercedes model, they're actually a little bit more comfortable for me. Ferrari's a little bit shorter, it's sort of somewhere in between. So I've got some room to play with there. I thought you might say that, Beetlejuice, actually. We should try and go Ferrari. I don't think I can talk Simon into it, though. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting a little bit of gas from the beer Red Bull combo, but I have no regrets. It's really good. It is actually delicious. I'm as astonished as you are. So yeah, I'm in that ballpark. Like, my original thought was either to stay at Alpine or to move to Alfa Romeo. The other problem is that normally Simon and I are really close in terms of performance, but this season it seems he's really struggling. So we talked off camera, and the suggestion was maybe I move down the grid. So he and I should, in theory, have a bit more on-track fighting. So go to Williams, maybe. But the problem is, if I go to Williams, I'm stuck there. Yeah, I suppose that's a good point. I mean, I actually thought he'd consider AlphaTauri, but he's a true Minardi fan, and he will not countenance any of this Austrian nonsense. Yes, Wodge, that is actually what we're going to do. We are going to tweak the difficulty every season. I was already pitching that we put it up already because I got pole, win and fastest lap in the first Grand Prix. But Simon struggled, so we agreed we'd do one more round on that difficulty level, and actually it seemed I just had a fluke result because since then I've not scored. The only annoying thing is, as well, that you put quite a lot of time into developing the car, and then you leave, and the AI inherits a better car. And it's weird, right? Because in a lot of these games, if you build and build and build, and I'm getting a lot of error notifications here, I don't think Simon's coming back. I think he may be a dead presenter walking. If you build and build and build the team, often some of the effects of the upgrades don't actually apply till the next season. So you leave frustrated with the car, and then suddenly the AI come in, and the AI gets married to the new AI physics for the car, and actually the team suddenly shoots up. And that's what happens to me usually in career mode. Like I'll go to a team like Alfa Romeo, have a frustrating year where I'm out driving the car and developing it, and my teammates just not getting anywhere near me. And then I move to another team, and suddenly they're like top 3 material with essentially the same car. I think there are some kinks in the game that need to be worked out. I'll tell you what, there are no kinks in though. This drink. Honestly, Beetlejuice, you are the wind beneath my wings. How many years you've been hanging out with us now and helping us with stuff, and then now look at this. You've gifted me this beverage, and it's amazing. Is that you, Simon? I can hear.
I think so, but there appears to be. I think my modem's back on again. There's lots of lights, and they're all flashing. So if you can hear me and I can hear you, I am good with that for the time being.
I can hear you. We can hear you, and the game says you're connected again. So
great, because I'm not even in the game. Okay, I'll dive back.
All right. Well, do you want to let me know when you're in the game, and we'll move on? Because there's only so much Red Bull and beer that a man can drink.
This is my tactic, see, to slow you down half a second.
We were just having a bit of a chat about transfers coming up, and Beetlejuice has suggested that we might like to, as a break from the norm, go to Ferrari and take them back to the top. But I was like, that'll be a hard sell for Simon, I think. That'll be a hard sell for you. If I know you as well as I think I do.
I could Luca Badoer it and just be at the back all the time and watch you do the accolades at the front. Lap me, sir. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued as to where we'll go as a duo in general, actually, because I have a funny feeling that we might have very different ways of approaching a team and the way how we go about it. And so I think we might end up diverging at the end of this season.
I think so too. I was sharing my conspiracy theories with chat while you were offline. See, because in my mind, there's 2 possibilities I'm thinking of for you. But now you've said that, you're making me question myself. And I don't know if it's good to talk about it or if it's just more exciting to see what happens. Wodge is asking, does the Ferrari engine upgrades count for Alfa Romeo? Actually, weirdly, no. So if you look at like our powertrain here, these are the supplier upgrades. And even though like the Ferrari powered teams in theory have the same engine, I believe they get different upgrades at different times. And that's why when you look at the competitive order, can I see the competitive order here?
I'm painted down the bottom, I know that. I'm just going live myself again. Fingers crossed this don't throw everything over.
Well, basically, you'll see that even though teams have the same engine, they have a different powertrain score. So yeah, the game's not done a very good job there. Anyway, hopefully Simon's in Team HQ now, and if his stream goes live again, then we can begin. And
Which it has.
Oh, superb!
Virgin Media bringing me back from the depths of hell. Well, Harlow in Essex, same thing.
Well, it's the same postcode, isn't it?
Feels like it.
Shall I advance time then?
Advance the time.
Yeah, I've actually been quite enjoying this though. I know we're supposed to be doing driving, but I've actually quite enjoyed just hanging out.
Yeah. I think that's
it's just kicked me out because you and I have different save versions now.
Oh no.
Has it corrupted? Oh no, it hasn't. It's just aligned me to you.
Okay, I've got another save. Now I've got another save.
Oh, I can replace my gearbox without
out.
triggering a penalty. Yes, I will do that. Okay, it's trying to align us. I really hope it doesn't corrupt. I really hope it doesn't corrupt us. Right, I'm going to the race now. Is it bringing you with me?
Yeah, I'm now in practice 1 coming up.
Oh, excellent. My PC is making a better noise than current day F1 cars. Oh, thank you. Let me move the microphone further away. Now I'm going to be a bit too loud though, so let me.
That's a great.
Don't worry though. Do not fear, because once my new setup is finished, you won't hear this at all. That is my aim, to hermetically seal it away. And tell me now if I've made it too quiet, but. Actually, no. The PS4 is on the other side of the desk and is completely silent. It is actually my laptop. I'm surprised you guys can hear it because it's pretty quiet for me. Anyway, shall we? We're in the habit now of driving practice, aren't we? Because otherwise it just wears out all our components.
So they've updated that now so that it doesn't do that issue.
Oh, well, that's good, I suppose.
I believe.
Would you still like to get some practice laps in? Or should we just go to quali?
I can go straight to quali because I've got a setup for this track if we want to.
Okay, then we'll do quick practice.
Okay. Ooh. What do I select? Oh. Yeah, I'll just select go to next session, don't I? Oh, I'm rusty.
I'm still getting errors that you and I are out of alignment, and it only goes somewhere if I press cancel. It might not save this. Why does it take 14 minutes to do a test program? Like, no, I'm sorry, but no, it doesn't take that long. I've played this game before. It still fails. What a load of shit. Is there anything I can drive now? No, of course not. So I have to retire from the session. It's so arbitrary as well. It's like a 70% chance and it fails.
Mm-hmm. It seems to... it is hard.
Well, here's something to talk about while you're finishing up your testing. I'm in a Facebook group called Jordan Grand Prix Still Buzzing, and they sort of trade merchandise and so on. And it's actually full of former Jordan team members, and Ian Phillips, the commercial director, is in there. And he's got some great stories, so everyone should go and join it. I wish more teams had that.
That's cool.
Have you finished P1?
Sorry, I was busy. Why doesn't it? Oh, this is very. End session. Okay, right. I was trying to find where that was. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm.
Oh, hey, Rhino.
By the way, Simon, I don't know if you probably missed all this, but the mixture of Red Bull and lager, genuinely delicious.
Yay or nay? Really?
Yeah, it's actually really good.
I feel like it would really fuck me up like vodka Red Bulls used to when I was. Mind you, that was like the college drink, wasn't it? Because it was like, yeah. I want to drink Ribena but be hard. Hey.
Oh god, what was it I used to drink?
Nuts.
Diesel. I used to drink Diesel, which is a mixture of lager and cider with blackcurrant cordial.
Christ.
Yeah, I had a colourful youth. My mum had a colourful carpet as well.
Wasn't the spiral pattern she was after?
No. Or some places they would make Diesel with Guinness. So you'd have Guinness, cider and blackcurrant. And that was bad. That was bad. Right, flip a coin, see if I can't get 2 for 1. Hey! That's the first bit of good luck I've had on this stream. Well, that and the beverage I discovered. What's important to unlock? Weight redistribution? Energy, engine power? We are pretty down on engine power, aren't we, actually?
We are.
Let's see if we can't do something about... Oh, no, of course not. It hasn't given me enough time. Well, then I'll try and
all
do
objectives have been completed. Yay!
You jammy bastard. How have you done that?
Got 5 out of 5 in the tyre management one.
Unbelievable.
Only 1 out of 5 out of track acclimatisation, so my tyres might be in peak form, but I don't know where the fuck the corners go. Issues!
Amazing. Amazing.
Hope I didn't miss anything. No, you didn't, Manna. It was just me raging at Virgin Media, who, funny enough, sent me a customer satisfaction survey today, and I gave loads of zeros about how shit it was.
Oh, that was
and it's like, how do you find... I know. How was your Virgin Media TV box? Terrible. I got it refunded 3 years ago because it was awful, and I've never tried it again since, Virgin. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Go back up to space and never come back down again, Richard Branson, with your bearded, wondered, shit-faced fuckery. Sorry.
That's quite all right. You rant away. Are you sure you don't want some lager and Red Bull?
Oh, I tell you what I have been enjoying recently, actually. Because one of the things with long COVID that's really knackered me out is I can't do alcohol. So, but there's a liqueur drink called Mozart, and there's a white chocolate version, and it is just basically alcoholic white chocolate. And I feel like I'm a child, but also like it sends me to sleep. Love it.
Oh, thank you very much for following Eleanor Leclerc. I wonder if you're any relation. If you are, then you're obliged to share gossip with us.
Yes.
I don't make the rules. You're just obliged to share gossip. Particularly bad hygiene habits and things like that. Or like weird dietary things. You know, like, I used to know a guy who, when he ran low on cheese to put on top of a pizza, he would, I swear this is true, he would put crushed up Wotsits. And for those who don't know, Wotsits are like, in America they're called Cheez-Its. They're like puffed corn covered in cheese powder. And he would put those on top of his pizza. Mwah, bellissima.
Christ.
I don't know what I want to unlock. All of it's so horrible.
That's university cooking in a nutshell, that is. I got a...
Oh no, he doesn't have a university education, surprisingly.
I got a book for my other half, which was basically University Eats, where you can just shove shit in a microwave, and then it's like pretend like excellence, and it's all things like put it in one pot and then cook it for 5 minutes over a stove. And every time we're like, what should we try out of the weird book today? And it's things like a pot noodle thrown in with like a bit of ground like beef and all of that stuff, and then like an onion on top, and you're thinking, oh, okay.
I've just accidentally made a twat of myself and exited, so I have to come back and join you. But that's because I was caught out by Eleanor's input here. Maybe a distant aunt somewhere, however. I am from Monaco, and my uncle is one of the engineers at one of the teams, but no secrets to share, although I do have a brother called Arthur. Right, sorry, you're hiding something from us now. Come on, cough it up.
We all know that there is an Arthur Leclerc, don't we?
Or maybe it's Charles Leclerc pretending, and actually it's your brother who's driving in Formula 3. Or is he in Formula 2 now? God, we're so unprofessional. That's something I really should know. But it's because I'm drinking Red Bull and lager mixed together, and that's just... It's impairing my ability to achieve this.
Juicy, 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 juicy stuff.
Oh, Eleanor, this is getting seriously deep now. We're getting into some serious territory. Well, thank you again so much for following. I hope you enjoy hanging out with us. We've actually got a lot to talk about in this episode. We've already covered Russell replacing Bottas. I can't get over how much your avatar looks like a Prince Harry you would get from the supermarket. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, thank you very much, good sir.
Can we have Prince Harry? We've got Prince Harry at home.
So he would have corned beef sandwiches.
And we did just talk about joining Ferrari next season. Saitora Rimon retired from the session. What have you done?
That was the end of the session.
But why did it show the pits?
I don't know. It says that you're busy.
Well, I am. I'm
but it
drinking,
won't let me select. Are you sure you want to exit this two-player career session and return to the main menu? No. So I'm stuck. I can't do anything. Can you do anything?
It just says, please wait. Isn't this stream going magnificently well? If it wasn't for how good this drink is, I'd be really struggling. I'd be having a small breakdown, but... Communicating with online... Migrating host, it's you. You've left the session.
Yeah, because it wouldn't let me do anything else, but it wouldn't... If you couldn't progress, then I couldn't progress. We were stuck.
The infinite loop. Sorry about this, everyone. It will come back. I have faith.
Love this journey for us. Right, back in. Jiminy crickets. Anyway.
Yeah, shall we do some F1 news?
Yeah, so...
We've done a lot of alcohol and broadband provider reviews.
Easily one of the worst starts to a stream that we've done so far.
We never know when to stop, do we? Just the peak keeps rising. I'm constantly astonished by our ability to do this. Right, I'm going to switch camera views so people don't have to look at a black screen. And I'm going to quit the game and go back in.
Yeah, because it won't let me progress the session because it says I'm awaiting you, but you're in as ready. I think we're going to have a desync problem.
Yes, you're probably right. Oh wow! Like I've just realised that I've moved my microphone into camera shot like a complete dick. Good job. Now it's just the tip. Yeah, let's talk some F1 news, shall we? So, something I did also want to discuss with you, and I had some pretty deep and profound thoughts about this. So, I also want chat's opinion. So, the announcement of Bottas to Alfa Romeo. So, here's my position. Bottas is definitely good enough for Formula 1, right? And he'll probably be quite a good safe pair of hands. But given there's so few seats in Formula 1, do you think actually drivers who move down the field are deserving in the same way they perhaps used to be? And I want to qualify that statement. I don't mean to think like it's a blanket thing, but think of it this way, right? He did his time at Williams. He impressed. He got to Mercedes, top of the field. Didn't cut it, right? So what that tells you is, while it's not impossible that his form improves and he gets back to the top, right? Let's just say it's highly unlikely. With all the young drivers coming through from the bottom, is it fair that he now goes to Alfa Romeo and takes up a seat to see out the end of his career? Or really, should Callum Ilott be in that seat because he's an unproven quantity? Like, we know where Bottas is going. He's going nowhere. He's going to stay around that level. He's going to be the new Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Really, really good in any car except one that can win. So, like, for real, what are your thoughts on this? Because I've been pondering it, and I don't really know what's fair and what isn't.
I think it does show and highlight that that 20 cars on a grid is not enough. I think there's several layers to it, because you've got the whole I can now build up a project and make the project my own, but I don't think Bottas is the kind of person that you could build a project like that behind. I do think that people can get back to top seats again, but it's much more around like, oh, I've got to go for the project, blah 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 blah. I just don't. It's one of the least convincing versions of that I've seen, though, if that makes sense. And I don't necessarily think that's a Bottas problem. It's a Bottas and Alfa Romeo problem. So it feels like the most dubious one of the lot. Whereas I could see potentially Vettel being revitalised and taking Aston Martin to the top for a while. I could see the Williams revival with Massa was an interesting one.
That was actually because I'd written Massa off, actually, and came to regret those words. Simon, can you do anything? I've just had to do P3 again.
Yeah, I'm in P3 again. I'm just doing my...
Then we're good, and I can defer to chat for just a moment. Watch points out the young need older drivers to learn from, and our new friend Eleanor says... even just from the last few races, he deserves a seat. I do think Bottas, don't get me wrong, I honestly rated him as a potential future champion when he was at Williams. And I don't know if there's perhaps something at Mercedes that has kind of killed him a little bit. I mean, it can't be easy, like, psychologically going up against someone like Hamilton. You know, we have seen drivers flourish once they get out from environments that don't work for them. And I'm thinking here about, like, Kimi Räikkönen and Ferrari, right? One of the best drivers in the world, but put him in a Ferrari and something just kills him, apart from the year that he won the championship, of course.
Manners popped in the chat. Perez proves you can get back to a top seat again. Although I feel like that seat is just a poisoned chalice no matter who and where you go to.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone I want to get into as well, actually. I could have phrased that better.
Well, you are the taco extraordinaire.
It's the Red Bull and beer talking. But yeah, I do want to discuss that much more, because obviously he's been retained. And that presents an interesting... Oh, I'm sorry, Eleanor. The attack of the auto mod. Oh no! I promised I would remove this. Can I do something about it now so this doesn't happen? Manage moderation settings.
Okay. Right, have I got enough? Yeah, no, we're good with that for now in terms of actual bits in the car. Hey, Tom. Red Bull and beer and F1 2021. Good luck. Yes. Cheers, Tom.
I'm really sorry about that, Eleanor. I really am. My auto mod is like super over the top, and I keep meaning to fix it, and I never do because I'm a twat.
Over the top of a roll hoop.
Hey!
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. There's a time and a place for puns, and it's here and it's now. Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, there we go.
Oh, you should get a government position.
On to quali. And let's get back on topic.
Yes. So I think that, yes, absolutely, you can go back down the grid and still be deserving of your place. I think what it just screams to me is that there needs to be more teams in F1 with the ability to do that. Callum Eilot's a really good person that you brought up, actually, because he made his IndyCar debut yesterday, done a very fine job with an entirely newly set up team that's got 3 years worth of funding, and it just makes me scream the IndyCar model is a really good way to go, where if you win IndyCar Lights you get several confirmed, guaranteed outings in IndyCar the following year, even if you don't get picked up by a main team. And so for me, especially with this new rule coming in for 2022, with the new rule coming in for 2022, where it's going to mandate new drivers in FP sessions on a Friday, for me, this screams FIA or Formula One Academy team that just takes some basic cars, pops them at the back, and allows that progression of new blood come in whilst retaining legacy. Because with this leaning into drivers drivers are the gladiators of F1 and all of this stuff, you can't have such a quick turnaround where you've only attached to people for about 3 or 4 years and then they're out the door because they no longer suit whatever short and sharp turnaround of drivers that we've got, because there's always more than what we can accommodate. So yeah, for me, I think it's worthwhile having drivers coming back down and becoming mainstays like your Kimi Raikkonens and so on and so forth, but not always at the expense of young blood. We need to have a place for young blood.
A very nuanced and reasonable take. I reject it completely. So, my dear moderators, if you can do anything to sort out the Eleanor situation, I'd be very grateful.
The Eleanor situation?
Yeah.
What are you, Nikita Mazepin?
I've turned off the auto mod that Twitch sort of puts on by default because it seems to have unfairly victimised our new friend. And so, yes, in many ways, I am like Nikita Mazepin. I have violated the trust of a friend. And now I'm driving an F1 car for no explicable reason. The parallels are actually quite shocking.
They are.
Except I have better hair.
And your face doesn't look like a potato.
Well, it depends which angle you look at. Actually, there are pictures of me where I look remarkably like Mr. Burns, and it's not a good look.
So I didn't realise that actually people who work for Haas call him Egghead.
That's a nicer name than I would have called him. So good on you, people at Haas, for the restraint there. So
I'm so terrible at this track.
I think honestly, I can agree with a more moderate position. Whoa! Why did everyone stop? I've lost my front wing. Everyone just stopped at the end of the. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to crawl around now.
I was having to concentrate. I can't drive this circuit for love, money, toffee, or boobs. Oh yeah, there's a whole yellow flag down at the remnants of your wing.
But really, what is going on? There's a Ferrari and an Alfa, and they're just crawling. Is that you?
I'm coming. No, it's not me, but I've just gone round them. Yeah, they're side by side. They're doing a Haas qualifying session problem. Well, I think someone's just smashed into the back of them as well. Well, this could be good for my grid position. I might be honest.
You merchant of chaos.
Love that.
Right, I'm going to get out of the way of people.
Oh, Sonoda, you moose. Oh, there we go. Now I'm in the back.
I just saw you coming through the debris. Why is it whenever I see you, you're followed by like a train of debris every single time?
Came in like a wrecking ball. Oh, it's just my life.
Oh, right. I'm going to come get a new wing, and I'm going to check chat and see what the balls is going on.
Take two. I like that comment though. Isn't that Haas? It shouldn't be Haas. I think, and that's why I think there needs to be like I had nothing wrong necessarily with those 3 teams at the back of the grid in 2010 being a Division 2. There's always been has and have-nots in Formula 1, and with the increasing way how F1 has become so close, for want of a better word. Like if you go back to the 90s, 2 seconds off the pace would have been a top 10 grid slot in 1993. Now it's 22nd or 20th and last on the grid, and so like I still think that there warrants a F1.5 type thing. Although I do love that on Twitter, if you've ever seen that Formula 1.5, they ignore Red Bull and Mercedes, and then score the entire championship as if they don't exist.
Which is a good system, frankly. Beetlejuice is asking a fair question here. Given that there's not really enough seats, and with the budget cap in place, is there still really an excuse to have pay drivers? I guess it depends on like the financial circumstances of each team.
Guan Yu Zhou has offered Alfa Romeo 30 million for the second seat.
But the thing is, see, I heard some rumours that people saw a deal being signed for Nick de Vries to take that seat at Alfa Romeo.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not announced.
He's the other one involved, isn't it? And I think some of that was down, or maybe down to what is going on with the AI today. Some of that I think is down to Toto wanting to block Albon getting in at Williams, which he also denies.
And that's something else that we have to get into, because I mean this is all symptomatic of the situation around the number of seats that are available, right? I mean,
and how many are Red Bull affiliated / controlled?
I mean, because that's the interesting thing, right? Red Bull were desperate to get Albon into Formula One, but not in one of the 4 seats that they control.
No.
And I'm really curious what their logic is for keeping Yuki Tsunoda, or at least I was. But you may have seen that F1.
Oh my god! Sorry.
What's happened to you now?
Hamilton literally just box mashed me into the pit lane because I braked earlier. Christ, sorry. So it was just like
the AI is really balked, isn't it? I've seen some very strange behaviour.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
And that's coming from a man who's just mixed a can of Red Bull with a bottle of Belgian beer. So I think I'm qualified to speak on strange behaviour.
Well, on that Tsunoda note as well, he laughed in press and went, "I'm surprised they signed me. I keep crashing." And I was like, "No shit."
No, really. I mean, I agree. I would have dropped him, put him down to test driver. And I really wondered, like, what could possibly have justified this if they were so desperate to get Albon back in the car. Like, Gasly and Albon would have been a pretty solid AlphaTauri lineup, although I think they really need to let Gasly go because it's just an abusive marriage at this point.
But that again for me is all about trying to get 2 sister teams, where and that language started to change earlier on this year, where it's no longer a junior team, it's now a sister team. So I think that I don't think they'll ever allow AlphaTauri to legitimately be on par with Red Bull, because that's not good for the brand. But if you can have them there or thereabouts, then he leads the sister team, and therefore it's the best of both worlds, whilst still controlling Verstappen being your top of the pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, but still, it doesn't make sense. It costs a lot of money to run those teams. Like, why give the seat to someone who I would say really hasn't put in performances that warrant it? I mean, the differential between him and Gasly is embarrassing.
Especially in quality.
Yeah, and I thought, what on earth could explain this? And then it turns out that there's negotiations going on to drop the MGU-H from the new engine specs, and that is apparently going to be enough to bring the Volkswagen group in. That's the rumour.
Right. I thought that had been agreed to drop it.
Maybe it's been agreed in principle, but even Toto Wolff said, well, we've agreed to it with conditions because we want the VW group to join. But also, guess who else attended that meeting? Honda.
Mind you, I guess that's more from a is it?
Oh
is
no,
it from
the plot thickens because Honda. I also saw, I believe on motorsport.com, Honda have had discussions with their board about can we withdraw our withdrawal.
Everyone in the pregnancy clinic looks confused.
Well, because they've done the same thing again, right? Like they did with Brawn.
Yeah.
Where they built something capable of challenging for the championship, and then they quit.
It does feel ridiculously odd, especially as we, hopefully, coming out of a pandemic, there's going to be lots of economic regrowth, hopefully. They've already ridden the storm, so to speak. I don't really... If they withdraw the MGU...
H.
Was it? H, sorry, I get confused between the two. Does that bring it closer to the kind of stuff that they're doing in IndyCar, which is where they're quite happy to sit there and burn fossil fuels and ignore global warming and be less impactful and worried about tech advances?
Allow me to blow your mind while you're on your quali lap.
Do it.
So, I hear a rumour through credible sources that the future is no longer electric because governments are looking at the amount of electricity that would have to be generated and the inefficiencies of electric cars, right? Because they have to carry a lot of weight in those batteries.
Yeah.
So they end up burning a lot of energy just to move the batteries around, even before the rest of the car. And battery tech is inherently quite limited. There's not really much advancement we can really do because the technology itself is kind of boxed in.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of great work being done on synthetic and biofuels. And the advantage there is, instead of having to build charging points everywhere, you just change the source of the fuel that fills the gas tanks, the petrol stations. And these are a lot cleaner. In the case of biofuel, it's technically a renewable fuel, even though, it still puts some carbon out. And current engines can run them, so no one has to throw their car on the scrap heap. And part of me thought, well, it sounds feasible, but then I also looked, where are manufacturers spending their R&D budget? And you remember 2 years ago, we were having a talk, or 3 years ago, that Formula E was so oversubscribed that Ferrari had to sit on a waiting list. Ferrari. Yes. And now all the manufacturers have pulled out.
Yeah, which felt odd that they were all doing it all at once as well.
And a lot of them have been part of the engine negotiations for Formula One. And the rumour is the new engine regulations are going to focus on synthetic fuels.
Right.
So suddenly this is all aligning up for me. So do you know what I did? I sold my shares in electric car makers and started investing money into people who are doing research into biofuels.
Oh, right.
See, a lot of people talk about hydrogen Beetlejuice, but I've actually spoken to some people.
Everywhere.
I've spoken to some people in the petroleum industry, and the problem is getting clean hydrogen is actually quite complicated. And even worse than that, because it has to be kept in a sealed tank. If the tank ruptures, if you're in an accident, it will explode like you wouldn't believe. And I guess the safety concerns are in the end going to override the efficiency.
All complete. Mechanics, please stand clear. We're ready to go.
I think, would you rather explode in a hydrogen tank bomb, or would you rather explode from having a Vindaloo and use that to then fill up your car?
Well, precisely. Oh God, there's only enough time for me to do one more lap. No pressure then.
Right, you're doing well. You're ahead of me. 6th on the grid so far. You've got the fastest Sector 1, by the way.
That doesn't sound right.
Purple boy.
I can be quite fast here. I just have to remember to be smooth and also not drive over the curbs. Some of the slow corners, I have a tendency to bounce over the curb, and we all know how that ends after this weekend.
Boing boing.
Yeah. But we won't get ahead of ourselves. Let's stay on topic for a little while longer if we can. So the album to Williams deal. Kind of a surprise to me. I mean, a good surprise, because I do think he deserves another shot, and Williams do need a driver. I mean, I think Latifi's really started to blossom. Actually, I mean, he'll never be a championship contender, but
No, he'll be solid though.
but he's coming to be a solid pair of hands, right? And you know, he managed to outqualify George this weekend for the first time, which I think is pretty big.
Thanks, sprint qualifying.
Well, you know, it goes down on the statistics, so it counts. I still hate sprint as a format for Formula One, but you know, I'm not in charge yet. Yeah, that's my last lap ruined. I dropped it, and now I can't get back on the track because there's a million cars pouring out of the pits. That lap's going to have to be good enough. I don't know how I dropped it then, but I did. Christ! How many cars are on this grid?
Not enough.
Oh, I've been
Oh,
disqualified.
you disqualified.
I waited too long, so I got disqualified. What the fuck is wrong with this game? I literally got disqualified for waiting for the cars to go through. Does that mean I start last now?
No.
Well, you improved anyway.
Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I'm up to 8. Oh, that might have put you down to last. No.
Well, it says I'm P20.
Yeah, I think it's going to stick you slap bang on the bum.
Well, if it does that, then I'm going to take a new power unit. I'm going to take a new power unit and some hard tyres and fuck a lot of you. I'm watching your lap now with anticipation and moderate excitement. We also got an... Ooh, you caught that well. We also got a new driver performance patch, but it hasn't fixed much, as far as I can tell, because Mick Schumacher is still out qualifying people he shouldn't be out qualifying. That's someone else I want to talk about. Has he been confirmed at Haas yet?
I don't know. I've got it in my head that they were both 2-year deals. I don't know why.
You could be right, because surely it would have been confirmed by now. I mean, it's difficult to manage, I'm sure, because they fucking hate each other. And it's getting increasingly obvious that they do.
Yes. And Mick Schumacher went on record to say, like, I don't know why they keep defending him. Probably because they're paying all of your wages.
Yeah.
That's why. So, yeah, toxic relationship. Because there was something for me around, actually, why not stick Mick Schumacher in the Alfa Romeo and get someone in for Haas instead that might work better for that team there. But I don't think that's on the cards for anyone either.
Oh, Yuki Tsunoda, 5-place grid penalty for illegal blocking. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're all driving slow. Oh, they're driving really slow. What is going on?
Hey, Andrew. Hope you're well.
I'll overlook that slight on my reputation, Beetlejuice.
Oh, yeah. 5-place grid penalty, 10-place for Leclerc? What the hell happened there?
Well, it's because they were blocking people, right?
Well, they were earlier in the session, weren't they?
And at the
Yeah,
end.
to see as well.
So I got disqualified. That's fun. Giovinazzi, 5-place grid penalty. Tsunoda got a 5-place grid penalty at the end. Hamilton and Bottas, and then 10 for Leclerc. Amazing. If I'm last, though, I'm genuinely taking a new power unit. See, now, Beetlejuice is saying Fred Vasseur wanted to reach an agreement with Ferrari about Mick Schumacher. I'm not necessarily sure that's the case, because he's been really keen to get away from Ferrari picking those drivers. And for some reason, even though he comes with 30 million in backing, I'm really not expecting them to confirm Zhu to that seat.
No, so, I can't remember who put it in the chat. Manor, it was. Don't think Joe's shown enough in F2 to warrant an F1 seat. Early on in the season, I would have said that's a F1 seat potentially would have been his. Although I'm very confused about Alfa Romeo because he's a Renault Alpine Academy driver, so I don't see the tie-up there at all. But the second part of the season, he's been outdone by Oscar Piastri.
That's a name I've seen pop up in chat a lot today.
And he's been doing really well, and he's taken over the lead. And so it's been... Sorry, that's stupid. Stop asking me questions, love. What's he say? I think Piastri is very good. I think Terry Chair has potential. I know he's been mooted, but it's only really... He's not ready yet. He's a 2023 beyond deal.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anyone else who would fit one of those seats because you've got Jayan Daruvula, not good enough, I don't think yet, and he's Red Bull backed. Yuri Vips, Red Bull backed, having an absolutely atrocious season. And so you'd have to look to De Vries from Formula E potentially. Van Dorn would be another one, but he would be coming back in and it would need to be Mercedes backed, so what would you do there?
He's the most boring driver in the world in Formula One.
I know.
I keep forgetting he
no
even existed.
But because everyone is either I'm a Mercedes person or I'm a Red Bull person, I can't think of anyone Ferrari related left apart from... I don't even think Piastri is a Ferrari Academy driver either.
I don't believe he is. But honestly, like, for me, I thought it should have really gone to Ilott or Giovinazzi. I think Giovinazzi's actually done enough, in my opinion, to save his seat, but Alfa don't seem to agree.
They fuck him over on strategy every single week, and that Alfa team just has problem after problem operationally that I'm not really sure why they make some of the mistakes that they do because they're so like awful. Tom, get Giancarlo Fisichella in there. Yes. That would be funny.
I'm taking my fifth power unit of the season. Fuck it.
Who else Ferrari related would you... Because you can't have Kvyat. He's not there at Ferrari anymore because he's gone over to... is he at Alpine now? As test and reserve?
Sorry, hold on. My train of thought has been interrupted by Beetlejuice making a good point, which is Robert Schwartzman is Ferrari backed.
Oh, Christ, yes, he is. He's all right. Russian as well. Plenty of Russian money to go around, I'd imagine.
Glowing praise there from you, Simon. He's all right if you like that sort of thing.
The problem with Robert Schwartzman is that there was like a collection of drivers that were all going through F3 and F2 together, and he, along with the Japanese guy that wasn't Tsunoda,
Marino Sato?
No, I've never really rated him at all.
I remember he drove for me in last season's game. What was his name?
I something. I've got E-Day, stop it. But he's in Super Formula now, and wildly inconsistent there.
Matsushita?
No, not. But he would be another good one, Nobuharu Matsushita. But he's Honda thingamy-bobbed. It's going to really piss me off now. But no, he's gone over to Super Formula, this guy, and so has kind of disappeared off everyone's radar, which is a shame. But it was him, Schwartzman, Leclerc, your Russells, your Ilotts, and there was kind of like a band of them that all went together. But the Japanese guy went to Formula 2 last year or the year before, had a terrible season and didn't last, and it's now got... He would be the other one that was Ferrari backed.
Sorry, I'm just enjoying Beetlejuice roasting you for your horrible taste in junior drivers. He hasn't forgiven you for your obsession with Artem Markelov.
I don't diss my Artem. Louis Delatraz was shafted. I can't believe he's not in F2, although he's now doing great stuff with Le Mans, so I feel vindicated with that. Talking of junior drivers, this is a complete side note, but I need to get it out. Nairo Fukuzumi, that's it. Nairo Fukushima! No, that's a nuclear plant, man. To be fair, it might crash like one.
There might be some similarities.
Nairo Fukuzumi, that's the one. Thank you very much, brother. So, I need to get this out before I forget. You know, one of your favourite Finnish drivers of all time that I believe now follows you on Instagram is Mika Salo.
Yes.
So, I wasn't aware that he has a son who races in Japanese FIA Formula 4 called Max Salo. But what's really hilarious is that, you know, when you get like the tickers that run across the top and it's got everyone's names that go across, he's the only driver who is in proper English Roman numerals. So everyone else's name goes across the ticker and it's all like N Fukuzumi, M Koyama, whatever you've got going across. And then in bold capital letters, it's always Max Salo, and it scrolls across because they can't deal with the way how he's been spelt. He's not particularly great. He's never in the top 20, but I think it's his first year. But it just makes me laugh how everything is like proper names, and it's just Max Salo appears, and he's always battling with. There's an old like 50-year-old guy called Dragon. And that's all that he's called. And it's always Max Salo, Dragon, and Hibano, who's another like singular worded name. And those three are always battling for like 23rd. It's joyous. I love it.
The guys
free to streamed on YouTube, by the way.
The guys are saying that they expect a lot of these drivers to show up in IndyCar or WEC, which I think is probably true. I mean, IndyCar's getting more and more appealing to me, actually, given some of the drivers that have ended up there.
I've been enjoying it this year. Ericsson's to win with the very outside shot of the title with 2 to go, 5th in the championship.
Dragon the legend.
But there's an interesting one as well. That so Alex Palou is leading the IndyCar season over there, dumped out of the European F2 ranks and all of that kind of stuff, thrown over into Super Formula, done all right over there, but really shone in IndyCar, and I don't think anyone was expecting that. So. Yeah, interesting. Just to see how different drivers who we kind of abandon in this end of the pond are really, really shining in a series that's much more knuckles out. I was going to say knuckle dragging, but that's not what I meant.
Well, as long as knuckles are the only thing you talk about getting out, then we're all right. Right, shall we have a massive Turn 1 accident? Are you ready?
Of course. Pit in lap 8.
9 for me.
Says for me. 9.
9. Incidentally, just a warning to everybody. I don't wish to alarm anybody, but I've just received a notification that a viewer is preparing a salad, and I'd like to say that the FailcastF1 podcast does not endorse salad. We have nothing to do with the salad, and we apologise for the salad. Right, let's go.
I'm going to order a Just Eat takeaway.
I'm looking at the back of someone's helmet. What's going on? Not that kind of helmet.
I'll zip back up. Yuri, is anyone in the fans? I don't know, where were you sitting for the Zandvoort Grand Prix? Herman was there, wasn't he? From Circuits of the Past. Having a jammy little live stream.
This game has gone very buggy since this update.
Oh, did you see the horrific esports live stream where cars were driving around on top of each other that caused a commentator to literally have a massive outburst? Warning collision with Bottas. I mean, soz, but not really.
The car just is spinning for fun, so that's nice.
You alright, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine, but the game is really buggy, so it started me in the same grid slot as Mick Schumacher.
Oh.
Then the car is on the wrong tyres. I told it to put mediums on, and I'm on softs. And it's hard to describe for anyone watching, because I know you just like, he's incompetent, and I am, you're correct, but there's a feeling you get through the pad when you're driving on like the slippery curb, right? And it gives you feedback that says you're going to spin if you don't come off the gas.
Yes.
And I got that on a piece of the track where it shouldn't be. Now it could just be, yes, I'm incompetent, but it didn't feel right.
Didn't feel right, Governor.
My race engineer is telling me to pit for hards. I will, but not on lap 1, because what we've discovered in this game is that if you pit on lap 1, you can never, ever, ever make up the time. I don't know why, but you can't.
Given the AI on this track as well, I quite often get a good old safety car. And the way how I drive some of these faster corners, the AI smash into the back of me. If anyone's watched my career mode season 1 video, I took out half the leaders whilst being lapped, and I've just recently done this in season 3 that I've just started recording. I'm here again, and if I said deja vu, that's all I'm gonna say. Which was why when I saw this track come up, I was like, oh fuck.
See, now I'm actually catching people up.
Expect some slight impact to performance.
Some slight impact to performance. I have huge impact to performance, Jeff. I can feel the car doing the opposite of sticking to the track. But it's okay, because I think I have enough pace to make a run on something.
DRS is being enabled this lap.
Nice.
Use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead, and in the DRS
If you was Fred Vasseur, then
I thought you were going to say if I was Fred Flintstone. And then you're going to ask me
Yes.
the classic Flintstones question, would you wife swap Wilma for Betty Rubble? And the answer is no, because Wilma is loyal and kind, and yes, she's ginger,
She's a
but we won't
keeper.
hold that against her.
She makes a mean pot roast.
But sorry, yeah, if I was Fred Vasseur,
To be
sorry, I'm
fair,
just getting into the mindset of a bold man.
I would a boulder dash. I would stick with Wilma too. To be fair, she had class, whereas the other one looked like she was just. She looked like she'd probably swallow and then spit out after.
I don't know if that's extra insulting coming from a gay man or not.
I was repulsed on all levels. If you were Fred Vasseur, who would you stick in your second seat?
Oh, that's a very good question. I mean,
Given no, like,
honestly, I'd right now stick with Giovinazzi,
trailing our teammate by 10.
partly to have a consistent benchmark for the new regulations, but also because I think he's doing enough. And you know, it's good PR to have an Italian in an Italian, ostensibly Italian team. I know it's Swiss. But then, you know, 30 million spondulis is a lot. I mean, that buys
Taken some slight damage.
a lot of fondue cheese. Like they'd be fine for their Christmas parties for the next decade at least. So it is a tough call. If I hadn't been lumbered with Bottas, and again, not saying Bottas doesn't deserve a seat, he absolutely does. I just think, what's he really going to do at Alfa Romeo? My signings would have been Giovinazzi as a new team lead and bringing Callum Ilott.
interesting.
Or Robert Schwartzman, one of the Ferrari Academy drivers.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have taken Mick Schumacher, not because I don't think he deserves it, but just because I think watching him stuck with Nikita Mazepin is funny.
What did you make of Kubica, actually, in his couple of drives? I was
Nice move.
pleasantly surprised.
It was less embarrassing than I have come to expect. But he still should be nowhere near that car.
I wouldn't put him in it full time.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put him in it at all. And people always think that means I hate Robert Kubica, and I don't. I was a huge Kubica fan, but his time is done. It's done. He's got one arm. It's done. Like, it's so hard to get near an F1 car when you've got two functioning arms and you're still on the pace. He's neither, and I mean, have you seen an all-in petrol station? Do they exist outside Poland? Like, I don't know what they're getting out of this. That was a ballsy over.
I'd be very interested to see how it's the modern day equivalent of rival factions, but not nearly. And also, I think it would increase the, not visibility, that's the wrong word that I'm thinking of, but almost like the prestige, I think, of having a FE champion come into Formula One and assume to cut it with the mustard and show that actually FE doesn't have to be another graveyard for F1 wannabes, because he's the first one that's gone across willingly, almost.
I think it depends how much money comes with it, right? Because, you know, like Williams have said, there will probably be Red Bull branding on the Williams car next year. So I'm guessing Red Bull have put up the cash to get Albon in that car. Because otherwise, I wouldn't take someone even as good as De Vries. Because what's in it for you? Because if he's crap, then it's you who's dropped the points. And if he's good, he's just going to get airlifted out by the parent team.
Yeah.
So there's literally no benefit to you. Not long term anyway. Maybe you get one season of a few extra points here and there, but he's still going to be limited by the car. So I think teams have to be out for their own self-interest now. And that's what Williams have done, right? I mean, the easiest thing in the world would have been to give that seat up to Mercedes to maintain good relations. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder, actually, because when you said to me, why don't Williams take Zhou and an Alpine engine deal? And I was like, that makes insanely good sense to me. No, Jeff, don't you dare put me on the hard tyres. Medium tyres.
Someone's just conked out behind me.
Because, I mean, that's something that I think we've seen, that Alpine need a junior team or a partner team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've got some drivers that, I mean, I'd really love to see Lundgaard as well given a shot.
Yeah, that's an interesting one under the radar. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But I saw Aidan Millwood, who I find myself disagreeing with increasingly. Partly because, you know, we just have different opinions, but partly because sometimes he just sounds unbearably smug. And so I have to disagree with him because I'm a disagreeable person.
Okay.
But he did an exercise where he was like, right, imagine we had a full grid of 12 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Who should be there? And I think it's an interesting thought exercise, and I agree with some of his picks, actually. So he imagined that there was a Japanese team coming in, and that Honda would stay, and that Alpine would have an associated team. And I believe one of the team leaders he picked was Kevin Magnussen, and I thought that was a really good choice, actually, because honestly, I think it's Haas that saved and killed Kevin Magnussen's F1 career. I don't think it was his time to go.
Yes. Agree.
And, you know, I think he had the right level of aggression, the right marketable personality, and the speed and skill to actually warrant a fairly decent seat. He also said bring back Hulkenberg, which I'm getting increasingly in disfavour of, simply because he's been away 2 years now. That's going to take some... There's going to be some rust to shake off, I think.
I'm over Hulkenberg now, although I thought I was over Alonso, and I've been enjoying this romantic re-love back in again. But largely I'm done with Hulkenberg.
To be honest, Alonso has been one of the mysteries of for me this season because it's something that shouldn't be working. What position are you?
10th.
Oh, but you've pitted, right?
Yes.
I was like, I'm P5. How did that happen? But now we know. Tell you what, for having a knackered rear wing, I've got some great pace.
That sounds like a great Tinder bio.
Has knackered rear wing, but great pace. Solid stamina. Puts in a good effort.
Would read that on Racing Post.
So, still lots to talk about, including that incident.
We should think about. Are we good?
No!
Do you think we'll do a second race?
Are you okay?
Oh no!
Nasty hit. Turn the engine off to the marshals.
Virtual safety cars.
Oh my god. The rear wing.
Safety car.
The rear wing gave up on me. The rear wing gave up on me.
Oh my god, Bottas!
We turned failures on, and it has come back to haunt me. Oh, okay. Everyone wants to talk about the accident, and we're going to. We are going to. But first, I just want to talk about the result. I had the race spoiled for me by the McLaren account on Instagram, but I'm so glad that they did spoil it, because immediately I was like, I have to watch this race. I saw a lot of people tanning from the Godzilla. Yes, I know, unbelievable. I was driving really well as well. I was really happy. I got some clean overtakes. I was running behind Gasly, but I still had to stop. So I was pleased. That was a good recovery drive. Still, Simon, you may have a chance here to put some points on the board.
Is that gonna let me overtake Seb? No. If you watch this back later, enjoy Bottas nerfing me off in turn 1.
I honestly, I think that the patch has really balked the AI for this track, because I've driven this track a few times in this game and I've never seen behaviour like this. And we do know that there is some history of co-masters ballsing things up.
Oh yeah.
Oh, welcome back, Eleanor. I'm sorry about before. Speaking of Gasly, I felt so bad for him. Yeah, me too. Me too. That guy's getting such the short end of the stick, isn't he? Obviously, if Red Bull did let him go, I'm not sure there was a space for him right now that he would want to be in. But still, like, imagine your career being that dead to them. You know, he's in the same position that Sainz was in a few years ago. And you and I were saying at the time, Simon, like, Sainz has to get out from under Red Bull because otherwise it's going to kill his career. And, you know, we were right. Incidentally, I saw a great interview with him, but let's give the people what they want. We'll finish talking about Gasly, and then we will move on to the crash. Beetlejuice is saying Gasly to Alpine in 2023. I've heard a lot of people making that prediction, and it's one I can definitely get behind. Wouldn't it be like a really good tie-up, that?
Done French. Ocon's there for 3 years.
And the thing is, like, I've never been a huge Gasly fan. Not because of his driving, but simply because I don't know, I get a strange vibe from him in interviews and so on. That
Agree.
I've never really sort of developed an affection for him. But then again, you know, he's there to put points on the board, not to float my boat. So on that count, you know, he's doing all right. I think him to Alpine would be a very interesting move. Of course, it depends how Alpine develop. But then, we have to think about drivers that will be coming up for retirement around 2023. Hamilton, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And he also came out and said he won't be sticking around that much longer. Vettel, for sure. And to be honest, I keep forgetting how old Daniel Ricciardo is now.
I think he'll be around for a few more years yet, but you're right. He's going to end up becoming one of the more senior drivers. I did have a laugh when F1 YouTube channel put up Rise of the Rookie, and it was Daniel Ricciardo, and I was like, how many years? I'm going to bin this. My car's fucked.
What's everyone saying in chat? Eleanor, as a Ferrari fan, he's one of the two non-Ferrari drivers I have a soft spot for. I mean, based on his performances, and particularly his emotional Monza podium, win. I honestly, it's not like I don't have some love for him somewhere. And then Wodge, a very astute comment, actually. Isn't it the case with all young drivers now that you need to be tied to a big brand to get into the sport, but later it can actually damage your career? I think that's true. I mean, tell me if I've got rose-tinted glasses on here, but it never used to be the case that teams had so many young drivers in a program, right?
No, this is all stemmed from Red Bull's young driver development program, and then everyone deciding that they needed to have their own. You would have drivers affiliated with each other. Like, I remember early 90s, Mercedes had quite a few.
He's just driving into you.
They don't react. That's the problem. They never react to what's going on around you.
And now he's driving really, really slowly again, and now, they're just... This game is ridiculous. Oh, mate.
Well, it wouldn't be a proper failcast if we didn't fail properly.
Right, I have to finish this beer so we win the next Grand Prix. Because we've still got another race to run, by the way, if chat can bear it. Yeah, I mean, it did start with Red Bull, right? And particularly with Vettel. Like, once you had success with Vettel, everyone was like, okay, we're going to have to repeat this model. But I mean, it used to be that actually it was the tobacco brands, wasn't it?
Yeah, you'd be backed by those because they had all of the power. So you would come in with a huge sponsor. So it would be some drivers like Satoru Nakajima would come with an engine and be backed by Honda, but you'd have like one or two, Aguri Suzuki maybe another one. Then you'd have drivers who were backed with cigarettes. The French would have the French government sponsoring them.
Mm-hmm.
So they had their own program in. Well, of course, government do not support motorsport anymore, and that's half of the problems around ticket sales and keeping up. This car's side pods are knackered.
It's amazing how much downforce there is, isn't it? That's exactly where I span as well. First time.
Yeah. This will be a.
I have to say, like, I feel bad because you were on course for your first points of the season, but I have to say I feel like
vindicated.
47% less of a twat than I did before that happened. So, like, I'm keeping a straight face and I'm being a good friend and teammate here, but on the inside, I'm like,
I wonder if I'll finish the 0-1 with those seasons. That's what I meant.
Finish the season with 0 points. Well, it's entirely possible because we have 3 races left to go. And one of them we're going to run in a minute, and then who knows how fucked we are after that. Right, let's give the people what they've been asking for.
Yes.
The incident. So, for those who missed it, basically Verstappen and Hamilton... Hamilton coming out of the pits, Verstappen somewhat out of position due to a slow pit stop. They enter turn 1 together. Verstappen, to my mind, was enough alongside to warrant being left some room. They tried side-by-side racing. Verstappen had the inside line for the second part of the corner, which took him over the apex. He bounced, and his car, for want of a better word, mounted Lewis Hamilton's. Taking them both out. It was a bizarre crash and one that I got more uncomfortable with the more I watched it. I was very grateful for the halo because that wheel brushing Hamilton's safety helmet, not good. And it's amazing how many lives we've since saved and injuries avoided by the halo since it came in. And it made me think, how were we not having people dying every year between 94 and when Joe Bianchi lost his life?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, think about it. Last 3 years, I can think off the top of my head, like 6 or 7 occasions I've seen the halo save someone from serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's remarkable.
His head looks so far forward in some of those photos as well. You think, crikey.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I mean, it was a scary accident. Now, Verstappen's been awarded a 3-place grid penalty. Presumably, I believe, this is a response to how dangerous the accident looked in post. I don't think it's an actual reflection of the real accident because, honestly, I don't like either of these drivers that much. Although Verstappen's grown on me since he's matured and stopped being quite so petulant. So I'd look happily for any excuse to bury either of them, but it was a racing incident as far as I'm concerned. Verstappen was alongside. Hamilton left him just enough room. Like, people say that Hamilton should have given him more room. I disagree. There was room for them to go side by side. It was the sausage curb that caused the incident. If that sausage curb hadn't been there, if it had been a normal corner apex, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And it's another one of the hang on, I shall just so that it ends a lap early. No, I agree. One of the big things with this is yet another reason for sausage curbs not necessarily existing, but then also having some proper track limit things so that they don't have to be there in the first place. There's a couple of interesting things for me, and I'm sure it's parroting what some people have said elsewhere. No worries. Enjoy GT Sport Manor. Thanks for popping in. Firstly, if the cars were the other way round, would Lewis have bailed?
That's a very good question, actually. A very good question.
And I'd say probably yes.
The point I want to make here is this. There is an issue, in my mind, with... You're right, there's a chance Hamilton would have backed out, but I think Hamilton's learned that if you back out to Max Verstappen, you're just going to be second. And I think that's why they collided earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I think it's partly why they collided now. I think rather than Max calming down, although he has generally, this is a case of Lewis upping his aggression a little bit. But that said, I stand by my point that on this case, I think Lewis did leave enough room. It was borderline, but Max still had 2 wheels inside the track limits. He was riding on the apex. Lewis has now said, well, this has set an important precedent. I don't know what he means by that. But honestly, to me, it feels like the incident was so horrible, and I see Eleanor has said it's one that she couldn't watch on replay, and I agree. I wonder if it's actually a response to that. Like, even though it was a racing incident, the FIA are feeling the need to clamp down on somebody to try and avoid it happening again.
Agree.
But to me, it feels unfair to Max, if I'm honest.
It feels inconsistent because... if you're going to, it shouldn't be about it should be about the incident itself and not about the severity of what happens at the end. It could be the tiniest 30-mile-per-hour crash somewhere, but if you hit something wrong, it could leave you in a worse state. It shouldn't matter if it's at 200 miles an hour and everyone walks away and it's fine. It should be around the rules of engagement and whether you was right or wrong in what you did. Yeah, no, I agree, and I think it just shows yet more inconsistency around how things work.
Well, consistency has been a continual problem with the marshals, actually. I'm losing to Kimi Raikkonen in my rivalry, and get this, I got disqualified in qualifying, crashed several times in the race, and then in the post-race interview it said, "Oh, you've been linked to a move to Mercedes." It's like, I fucking think not. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with a lot of what I'm seeing here.
What you got? Read them out.
Beetlejuice says probably yes. He has bailed earlier in the race in the second chicane. Similar scenario, in my opinion. Yeah, totally fair comment. Wodge is actually rooting for Hamilton a little bit this year. That's fair enough, mate. I hope your man wins. I'm rooting for Verstappen simply because I want a change. See, the thing is, like, when I criticise Hamilton, and it's on the record that I'm not his biggest fan. It's not that I hate him. I think he's the best driver of his generation, quite possibly, and he's a great ambassador for Britain. I think his knighthood was deserved, and I think if he can become an 8-time world champion, then more power to him. I just think from a personality aspect and the way he speaks in the press, sometimes he can be a bit of a dick, and I don't like it. Fuel load in future events. You finished the last race with quite a surplus of fuel. Oh, I did, but, you know, I also finished the last race with quite an abundance of bits of barrier stuck in the car, so I don't think it's necessarily something we should be looking at too closely. Simon, we have... and Eleanor says, if it's the case that it's punishment to avoid it happening in the future, they should both have received the punishment. I agree.
Because what was really interesting was Lewis went side by side with Norris, went through perfectly fine. Bottas and Perez, perfectly fine. Admittedly, different closing speeds, different ways of going around things. I also think as well, Max was probably in the same way that Lewis was doing a now or never in Silverstone. I think Max was thinking now or never at Monza as well, because of the circumstances and the overboilingness of shit hitting the fan.
Well, also, you know, like, if you didn't get past them, by the time Lewis's tyres come up to temperature, it's already very hard to overtake anyway. No, I mean, honestly, if I was in Verstappen's position, I asked myself, would I have done something differently? Now, I'm a horrible driver and I crash all the time, but setting that aside for a moment, I would have done, because if he hadn't have got past then, it very realistically might have been never. And his job is to try and get past. That is his job. Can I interrupt us for just a moment? Because I'm enjoying this chat and I'm loving all the feedback in chat. But we have some development points to spend, and we have a choice between a very powerful engine upgrade for engine power, or we can get a plank. That's correct, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Your prize, Simon Smith, is a plank of wood. Or
I thought you were going to say Simon Smith's a plank.
But wait, there's more. We can also afford, in addition to the plank, we can also afford some Y250 vortex generators, which sounds like a sci-fi doomsday weapon, but from what I can tell is just a bit of a front wing. Choose your prize. I mean, obviously we could also spend it on reliability, but you know, that's boring. We want to spend it on something sexy. Oh, we can get some bearings as well, or a fuel efficiency upgrade, but you know, they're not very sexy.
What have we got? Let me have a look at the... I've only just looked at the calendar. What have we got? I forgot what we chose. So Italy, nothing will be ready for them.
Sorry, Beetlejuice made a good point. We should unlock the plank so we have something to walk off at the end of the season.
Go for it. That has sold me for the plank. With Japan and Brazil, they're both curvy, turnies. So for me, I would probably...
Okay, thank you for that technical analysis, Professor. Curvy, turny it is.
Plank and bearings, potentially, as a...
You're too late. I've gone plank and vortex generators.
Okay.
We also have enough left over, though, for Oh, we nearly got enough for the bearings. Or we can improve our control electronics for reliability, but who cares about that? Not us. Right. We are still valued at the same level by market value, 2.02 million. Can you think of a worse way to spend $2 million than hiring us? Right. Let's advance time then. Oh, Italian Grand Prix. Oh, I'm good here. I've won this, what, 3 or 4 times
Just
now?
won a top 10. I just won a top 10. That's all I want.
Oh, this is good because people who are important to me, who I care about, watch this stream, and all they've seen so far is me be a twat. So I mean, and they see that every day anyway. Like that's an everyday occurrence. So back to chat. Eleanor, I feel like this season especially, it's made Lewis less complacent. I would agree, and it's nice to have that fire lit under them. The same way I was really happy when Charles Leclerc took over from Kimi Raikkonen, because I think Vettel needed a fire lit underneath him, and Leclerc was that fire. Unfortunately, he burned a little bit too hot and pushed Vettel out. But I think everyone's won out of that scenario, because I have to say, Leclerc and Sainz, one of my favourite driver pairings on the grid.
Agree. Do wish Sainz would stop binning it in FP3.
Well, you have to find the limit. Oh, rumours about next year's regulations, and Fernando Alonso is retiring. He's retired already because one of us has replaced him.
Yeah. 2 doors. That's interesting. It's different. So Raikkonen continues on. He's always the first to go in my games.
Right, it's power dependent.
Aero package.
Let's do a quick practice while I read chat.
Sorry, I was just in some menus doing some Susan.
Wodge points out Alonso had a good comment about this. Both drivers shouldn't give another any room in order to win the championship, and both didn't give. And Eleanor is saying, I have a feeling that the season is a make or break, and it's not going to end well, but I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I back Leclerc as I share a name with him, and because we're both from Monaco, so in my eyes he does no wrong. What makes you feel that way? Because I actually think both guys are delivering pretty decent performances. So I'm kind of surprised that you feel that way. And Leclerc's on a really long deal, if I recall. Isn't he there until, like, the sun expands and consumes the earth in a fiery oblivion? I thought that was literally in the words of his contract.
Yeah, it was just always called a long deal.
Wasn't it like five seasons or something? It was like ridiculously long. Who misses?
Yeah, I thought it was a 5-season deal.
It's Sainz I'm more worried about, because he's doing a really, really great job, I think. And for a guy who's changed teams more often than some people I work with change the coffee filter, he's delivered at every team he's been at. And I kind of feel like Ferrari are using him as a stopgap until one of their young drivers is ready to step up. And I think that's unfair. And he gave a really great interview to Motorsport, actually saying, a lot of people don't rate me. I'm like, well, a lot of people are stupid. A lot of people are stupid. I mean, I don't know necessarily. He suits being a Ferrari driver to me. Like, when I see him in the overalls, it looks right. But I could see him fitting at any team, really. I honestly think... I don't know if he'd beat Leclerc in a championship-winning Ferrari. I don't know that. But I think it would be close. You made that noise when you disagree with me, so come on, lay it on me.
I think Leclerc has the edge over Sainz. at the moment. But some of that will be just down to the fact that you're bedded into a team for a longer period of time, all of that kind of stuff. So less of a big thing. I don't know. I don't see. And maybe this is just me being moosey, but I feel like I don't really know where the next Ferrari drivers are coming from. So
well, because they won't give the young drivers a chance because they insist on keeping Kimi Raikkonen until he's literally a corpse.
Exactly. And so I feel like actually he's got quite a long stay in front of him so long as he performs, because I can't see they're not going to promote Mick Schumacher based on current form. He's got a good
I disagree.
I don't think
I disagree. I honestly think they're so desperate to have a Schumacher back in a Ferrari that they will put him in there before he's ready if they get the opportunity.
I think it would be a marketing disaster. Oh, the Schumacher film comes out this week, actually.
Oh, you'll have to give that a cheeky watch.
Mm-hmm.
We were right about something. Sorry, hold on. That doesn't sound right. Let me read that again. We were right about something, Simon. On Google, it says he'll be the team to 2024, so it was a 5-year extension.
Hey!
Who even knew? Who even knew we could be right about something? Beetlejuice, are we forgetting that there are 2 Schumachers coming through? Yes, we are, and so is the media. And if rumours are to be believed, because I haven't had a chance to keep up with his career, but isn't David Schumacher better by some metrics?
I'm not as much of a fan of David Schumacher, but then I was quite not anti-Mick Schumacher, but he's a slow burn, which is why I'd be very interested to see, how he performs next year versus this year. And if I don't see a step progression, then I will return back to being tepid, lukewarm on Mick Schumacher.
I'm afraid I have to agree with our new friend here because she says Mick Schumacher's another driver she has a soft spot for, and I have to say I've developed a soft spot for Mick Schumacher.
I think he's a lovely human. At
the start of the year, I really thought he wasn't ready. He'd been rushed to Formula One before it was right. I still think there's some evidence of that, but his maturity, I think, give him another year and he might just get through it.
Yeah.
I believe
there's very few drivers that I root for as much as him to have success, and that's not so much based on the Schumacher backgroundy side of stuff, but the way how he carries himself as the primary thing. Secondary, I think it must take an awful lot of him to have paraded round his dad's legacy in front of him, for him to then have to deal with it on an emotional level himself, but then also placate the media who seem to be like, your dad, wouldn't it be lovely for him to be able to see you now driving his car, your dad's car, all those feels, all those emotions, whilst he's at home recuperating in a vegetative state. And I just feel like the media are very, very callous in getting clicks.
Yeah, no, really.
Based on the emotional manipulation.
I agree they are, and I don't think that helps Mick develop into the driver he's capable of being. If anything, I think it stalls his thing. Eleanor says, the whole house situation is like an episode of The Kardashians. I've never seen The Kardashians, but I imagine you're right, and I'm looking forward to Drive to Survive purely on this basis. In fact, the entire show should just follow Haas as far as I'm concerned. Because something controversial is going to come out, right? Gunter is going to have said something, and we won't be aware of it until that series comes out. And yeah, Eleanor agrees with you. He feels so bad for Mick. He's constantly compared to his dad, and it's like the whole F1 community is against him. I agree. Beetlejuice disagrees in a sense, saying everyone I know is rooting for Mick. I think there's a little of column A and a little of column B, right? Because as we just discussed, the press really are the ones putting pressure on him. Yeah, I had the same view of Schumacher, of Michael as well, Beetlejuice. I respect him massively, but I was not a fan at any stage in his career, actually. Maybe it's because I'm British, and as the Polish F1 fans will tell you, we'll do anything to sabotage a foreigner. God, I love this circuit. I love it so much.
Talking of sabotage, I did laugh my head off at Damon Hill trying to say that Max Verstappen purposely took out Hamilton as he used a football term for it, a tactical foul.
Yeah, do you know, I'm a huge Damon Hill fan, but that was one of the worst takes I've seen.
It was very cringeworthy. I feel like, actually, tying into this whole emotional manipulation, I feel like they're desperate to try and make Damon Hill, who is blatantly I want to just sit on my garden porch and play the guitar kind of guy, to be outspoken and controversial. But it's like asking, I don't know, like the most mild, meekest grandma, like putting them in front of a podium and saying, so, World War II Nazis, yeah? And she's like, well, it was great in the war, blitz, bombs! And they can't quite do it, and it's cringeworthily awkward to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I like having his insight, and I like the dynamic with him and Jenson Button, actually, when you get both of them.
Yes.
But yeah, he's had some pretty iffy takes recently. But credit where it's due, the guy's in good shape. He still fits into his Jordan overalls, I noticed.
Yeah.
So, taking care of himself at least. No, I mean, I think his voice has value, and I was a huge Damon fan in the 90s. I really was.
Yeah, I don't want him to feel forced to give controversial opinions for the sake of we need an Eddie Jordan in here to just stir shit for no particular reason. He shouldn't be filling that void, because for me he's like a buttonish elder statesman. He should be the grace, and you should leave the shit to Nico Rosberg and other people who are good at shit stirring.
Yeah, I agree. I do wonder actually if he's been maybe given the remit to say some of this stuff.
Agree. I think he has.
But who knows? Speaking of the press, though, I did really want to talk about Arsehole of the Year award going to David Coulthard for his interview with Valtteri Bottas after his third place finish.
Yes.
Wasn't that just the cruelest, most vindictive interview given by someone who isn't Martin Brundle? I mean, I was staggered. Yeah, good job on third, but what do you think about Lewis? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're focusing on being fired because you're a dick. It was like Jesus Christ, DC. Like, kick a man while he's down.
Although I did laugh at Valtteri's, like, oh no, what a shame kind of reply comment. I've seen some good memes go around about it after.
Do you know, I was really hoping Valtteri would just go full I don't give a shit mode now. Like, the correct response to that question would have been, well, as you can imagine, David, you know, like deadpan face. As you can imagine, David, I'm devastated. All I can do is try and get by one day at a time. My Lewis Hamilton posters may well be tear-stained, but I trust that he'll come back. I mean, Jesus Christ, the guy's career's in smouldering ruins, and he's just pulled out possibly the drive of his season, and all you can think to do is ask him about his teammate not finishing. It's like, hold on, I fucking finished and finished well. Unbelievable. I'm out.
Oh no!
Cars just stopped in the middle of the road again.
No. Where was that?
It was between turns 2 and 3, I think.
Oh, Mazepin's out as well.
Latifi gets a 5-place grid penalty for taking me out, but he took me out. Like, I can't set a faster time now.
Yeah, yellow flags. I'm going to back right off if there's an absolute fuck. clusterfuck going on.
I'm trying to remember that I'm hosting a podcast and I need to be nice and cordial and funny if I'm able, although that's questionable. But I'm actually starting to get really annoyed now because I'm good here. I'm really good here. And I was already 5th and I was nearly 4/10 up. And I saw them running side by side and I did hit the brakes, but it was, it's such a fast track. There was no way I was going to stop, but I didn't hit them that hard. But my wheel just came off. Yeah, not remotely happy with that. And now, like an elderly neighbourhood watch member, I'm trawling through all the cameras to find evidence of this conspiracy against me. Yeah, Sonoda's lost his front wing as well.
Odd.
But I mean, what are they doing?
This must be like a new bug. I don't remember this being a problem particularly elsewhere.
I have had it before, but only at tracks where it usually happens, like Monaco or Azerbaijan. I've never seen it happen here.
Strange.
But I'm skipping through the cameras, and I'm going to try and find it happening again. Sorry, everybody. Let me go back to chat. Yeah, Beetlejuice said, David, you know all about being a number 2 driver. Why don't you tell us? That would have been the right response.
Yes.
Tell me, David, did it get cold in the long, dark shadow of Mika Hakkinen's genius? Wodge, loved the McLaren reaction when Norris made a suggestion that would be best for the team. I had a discussion about this while it was happening. And honestly, even though I think Lando has been the better driver all year, and he's the one I would have preferred to see win, even though I like both of them, if I was on the pit wall, I would have given the same order.
Agreed.
Do not race each other. And it's just lucky that Lando is so mature and such a team player that he accepted it. And I liked his response at the post-race interview as well. Like, yeah, in the heat of the moment, I wanted to get past, but the team were right, and we've got to think of the team, and my chance will come. And it's like, it definitely will.
Yeah, it definitely will. And I think that level of maturity. Funny enough, we was chatting in our my little F1 chat that I've got with some guys I sim race with, and the hot take was, will Lando take this gracefully or not? Because it's the first time where he's been really put in that situation. And I thought, no, he dealt with it admirably. And I think also this is probably the best kind of way for the team to win a 1-2 as well, because Norris knows his time will come. He's shone like a star all year in that car, and if anyone needed the pick-me-up boost of a win, it wasn't Norris, it was Ricciardo, and that gives the best to both worlds. So actually I'm kind of pleased that it happened in that order, in that way, because I saw a tweet where it was 3 races ago, and Danny Rick's just sitting all dejected and sad in Parc Ferme after a race, and yeah, just that quick turnaround. I thought, yes, you needed that one more than I think people know.
No, I agree. I think it might be what he needs to sort of get his groove back more consistently. I mean, but it was the same thing with Renault, right? He went to Renault. He had a really difficult start to his time there, and then sort of found his groove in the second half of the season. But by then, he'd already decided he was going to bail. Let's see who's on track apart from Simon. Just Simon.
Got to get that TV money from my Minardi's.
There's some great Bottas questions from Beetlejuice here. How did it feel being degraded to number 2 yet again, this time by a 20-year-old Finn? Oh, and didn't you go back to a slower team to lead them up the grid? Different David Coulthard? Eleanor, I am the same age as Lando, and that shows he is more mature for his age. I would have been so annoyed. Honestly, I think most drivers would have been annoyed. I think, though, McLaren is so much Lando's team.
Yes.
That I think also to some extent, I don't think he's legitimately worried about being put into a second driver position long term. I mean, Zach Brown's like his adopted dad. It's insane how much he loves Lando. But also, can we take a moment to say, like, it was a legitimate 1-2?
That was not fluked.
No, I mean, you could argue it was probably going to be a 1-3, right? But Ricciardo led basically start to finish on merit. And I think that's testament to the drivers they've got, but also the massive amount of work that Woking have put into all this. It's been a long road. I mean, let's not forget, it was nearly 10 years since they last won a race.
Yeah. And they're the only team to have scored a 1-2 all year as well, which surprised me. I didn't realise that until someone was saying. But there's so much behind the scenes, and I think I was particularly later in the Honda years starting to think, oh, Zach Brown, I love you and would definitely want to go for a barbecue and a pint, but are you really the right guy to lead McLaren? I was starting to have some doubts come in, but with that, Andreas Seidel coming in as well, and just the general unlocking of potential of everything that was going on in there, it's all come together.
I mean, I agree, but I think also Zach had that same thing, right? Because he was running the team hands-on, and it wasn't really, I mean, there was some improvement, but it wasn't going great, right? And at some point, I guess he realised, like, I can't do this. I can do the business side, but I can't do the race operation side. And then that's when he brought in Andreas Seidel, and, you know, that was a good move. Just as we're seeing it with the Rilton Capital, right? Rather than keeping a Williams person as team principal, they've hired Jos Capito. And look at them. You know, excellent move.
And looking at, what was the... wasn't Zandvoort, was it? What was the race where it was... Belgium, wasn't it? With the qualifying, and how they were the team to go out on the right tyres at the right time, taking bold decisions, thinking like racers, not also rounds. And it's just a change of mindset of, we've got nothing to lose, but it's calculated risk. It's just breathes new life into the team.
But also that lap from George, I mean, I'm sexually aroused when I watch that lap. That's how good it is. Right, back to the chat. Let's see what's going on. Beetlejuice, pretty sure he was annoyed, but the kid is smart enough to know what's best for his career. Absolutely agree. Wodge says, this 1-2 does give me 1997 vibes, as in McLaren might be winning next year. I wouldn't rule McLaren out of a championship challenge when the regulations change. It's always hard to predict with a big regulation change. But I wouldn't rule them out. I wouldn't say they're a shoo-in, but I wouldn't rule them out either. They seem to have their head in the game. They're enough together that maybe they could pull it off. I love that my wheel is just sort of hovering in space, and everyone's driving through it. Right, I'm waiting for everyone to pour out.
I can see it.
Yeah. I'm waiting for everyone to pour out of the pits because I want to see them block each other again. to prove I'm not crazy. I don't have gaming Alzheimer's. Lando deserves after the absolute nightmare at Spa. I agree. I felt so bad for him, and I honestly think he could have really been at the sharp end of that race had there been a race.
We've not even touched on that, have we?
No. Should we go back to Belgium? Not that there's really a race to review.
Sounds like an Amy Winehouse discussion album. Yeah. No. It appears like they're going to do something with the tickets potentially now after massive pressure. But do you think that the way how that was handled well, poorly? Do you think it was raceable?
I defer to the drivers on this, and I would say no, it was not raceable. And to that extent, I can't hold the yellow flag. So someone's holding someone up. Come on, be twats to each other. I know you can do it because you've done it to me.